I missed the opportunity to go to that observatory down in Racine, or technically in Union Grove. That looked like it was a really nice time for everyone.
Yeah, I missed it too.
Observatory down in Racine, or
Come on.
technically in Union Grove. That looked like it was.
There we go. Okay, Linnea, you can start it off.
Okay, well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to November's meeting. I don't see if Brian's on tonight, but Brian Jensen did host us at the Modine Benstead Observatory, and that was really cool. I know Bernard, Randy, Roger, you were all there. I don't know. I mean, if you get the opportunity to go. And what I thought was really cool, from April to October, I can't remember which Saturday, it's like the first Saturday, I'm making that up, but they have it where it's open house. And as we were leaving, there were astronomer photographers standing outside with more portable telescopes, and they were shooting the galaxies. It was just so cool. And when the visitors come, they let people hook up with their cell phones. So the photos that they're taking can go onto their own phones. It was just way beyond my knowledge level, except I was just in awe. And they're talking about the different stars and the different galaxies. And I just thought, wow, this is really pretty. So anyways, if you can, I really appreciate Brian for, bringing us out there, giving us the time, but it was a really cool thing. Then for tonight's meeting, I give you, I have my notes over here, just a brief overview, and then we'll get into it. We'll do the club updates, then we'll do show and tell, and I'm always alphabetical just to make things easy, but I'm cracking myself up because show and tell, Bob, you go first because you're with a B, and Jessie, you go second because you're with a J. But then when you see the slideshow, I did it all alphabetical by last name. So I'll let you guys know when you, I don't know, I kind of make up the rules as I go through. So show and tell, we'll have Bob, Christian, and then Jessie Buchholz. The slideshow this month, Clint, I have to say, wait till you see some of these photos. I wasn't off. A few of them, as I opened them up, my mouth just dropped. Except Roger, yours with the bugs. My mouth dropped, but I just couldn't get over it. I mean, it was in the newsletter. If you haven't seen it, you'll see it again. But it was really, really cool. And I'm just glad to see it through paper and not in real life. Just amazing. Anyways, you'll see those coming up. Joe Higdon, you did incredible amounts. So we did autumn colors. Joe took it to the creative state and made some really cool captures. But I don't think there's one leaf in there. So, when you take a look at it, very, very cool ideas. Next month, so the November slide or challenge, President's Challenge, is just a different perspective. But as I was thinking about it too, different perspective to me is kind of, I don't know, you look at your table legs, or you look through ups, on top or underneath of like a picnic table, just the different angles, different things that you don't think of shooting that we see every day, but possibly can make a really cool capture. But then also I'm thinking about the creativity, I'm sorry, Jeff, is it Hazel Meredith?
Hazel Meredith, yeah.
Yes. The different transformations that she takes, I guess I would also, along with a different perspective, if you have a photo that you love, but you can recreate it into something different, that's what this November challenge is going to be. Just something a little bit different than just doing, a regular photo. Tonight that we're going to have, Jeff is going to do the new features in Adobe Lightroom and Adobe Photoshop, which I'm really excited about. And I guess that's really the overview. And then just starting into it, club updates. Jeff, do you want to say anything in regards to that, or is that?
Yeah, Pat's on vacation, so we have just about everybody. We're down to about 9 people that still owe dues, and I just sent out, I think it was on the weekend, an email to all those people to remind them that they still owe their dues. So we're getting close, but if you haven't paid your dues, please pay your dues. I'm not sure. I don't have the list in front of me, but I don't know for sure if there's anybody on, but you should have gotten an email from me if you hadn't paid your dues, and just get them paid, because otherwise we'll be dropping you off the Zoom list. So, but I think almost everybody here is all set. So, yeah, I don't have the list in front of me. Pat has it.
Indication. Our December meeting, I don't see Brian on here. I know Ellen did a fantastic job on page 4 of the newsletter. Everything from Holy Angels website, the address, all the information. I'll be there at 6. I take it, Jeff, you're our photographer for the group photo?
Yeah, I'm going to do the group photo this time. We have to be done by 6:30 because they have another group coming in. So we're taking the photo right at 6, so be there ahead of time so that we can get you set up, get the picture shot, and get everything taken down so that the next group can come in and use the gym. So.
And Clint, you'll be happy to know I passed on the order of the pizza to Elizabeth through email. I have to confirm, but that was my job last year and we did it. So thank you. I still have
I have a
your-
question about that.
Oh, yeah, Clint's on the line, so please ask.
So I know you said that, I think you just said, I can find this in the newsletter if I'm not right, but Clint had 2 locations in his email, the Menomonee Falls Community Education and Recreation and the Riverside Elementary School. Is one of those where we're I don't even know where we're meeting. Is it one of those, or should I go look in the newsletter for where we're going?
We're meeting at Holy Cross Lutheran Church.
That's where it will be. Yes, correct. So if you need that list again, I can email you the list again on the pizza list too, if you want.
Nope, I'm looking right at it. Thank you.
Okay. You're
So
welcome.
if they throw a fit about the check, is there any problem if I just pay and Pat can give me a check?
No, but they
ahead.
shouldn't give you a problem with it.
I say always call them because they keep changing managers, but all the years we have been doing it, they've been working very well with us.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna give them a call this week just to check in and make sure it's not gonna be an issue.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, and that's funny. Clint, I did forward your message to Elizabeth, but as you can see, I didn't change the location, so I just made her guess. I'm really sorry about that, Elizabeth. And I do apologize for calling it Holy Angels. We have a big benefit, the band's playing it. It's Holy Cross Lutheran Church, so I am sorry about that.
Could I ask a quick question?
Sure.
As a new member, I've heard several people just mention newsletter. Is that something that's emailed to people? Because I have not received a newsletter.
Okay.
So I don't know about the things that you're talking about and the opportunities available.
Yeah.
If I'm supposed to be on a mailing list, I'm not on it.
Okay. And that's Adele?
Adele, yeah.
Adele? Okay. I'll make sure she gets you on the list.
Okay, thank you.
I could have swore I told her about it, but
well, things happen, so
yeah.
I just wanted to
we'll
ask.
make sure.
Check
But
your
it is
spam
on
and
our
junk mail.
website as well. So
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Adele, Ellen is fantastic at doing this newsletter. It's just amazing what she can put together.
I believe she's in Mexico right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll be with
she
her.
may not be able to do anything.
yeah, she won't get to it right away. Plus tonight she was going to join us, but she sent me an email saying she felt sick. So, which isn't good if she's on vacation.
I'll look on the website for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Okay.
or if you have her email, if we can pass it over because there is such great information in regards to what's upcoming in there.
Okay.
Other than the 6 o'clock photo, we're also going to be judging the Wisconsin print circuit. Correct, Jeff?
Yep,
At
that's right.
the December meeting. And we're going to have pizza. And then last year, too, people contributed if you want to, like holiday desserts or just desserts. But we had like so many, which was not a problem. But, so don't feel obligated to bring anything, but that's there.
I will bring the soda again this year.
Okay, well, thank you, Clint. I just want to quickly go into January meeting. I talked a little bit with Jane. And so with December, that goes by so fast. January is the month that Jane puts together our favorites, our favorite photos that we've taken. And it doesn't necessarily have to be from this past year. It can be just your favorites. And she'll take up to eight photos of yours, 2100 on the long edge pixels, but she would like it right around January 1st. And Jane, is there anything else that I need to add to that?
Well, it could certainly be sooner, but it can be sooner than January 1st, anytime now. Just label it, Menomonee Falls Camera Club slideshow, something that attracts my attention. And please email it. Don't send me drop boxes or zip files, or if you can't send 8 at a time, send 4 at a time in 2 separate batches. It's any subject. So yeah, it's sort of a pain that January 1st due date, but with the holidays, but I still need about a week to get it together.
Thank you for doing that, Jane.
Do I have something, Linnea?
Yeah, you do,
Yeah.
Patty.
I do. So I sent you a text message a little while ago. And it is in regard to the West Bend Christmas Parade. They do want us to show up and take pictures. And the parade theme this year is Christmas Around the World. It's on December 1st. That's a Sunday at 5 p.m. And for the most part, the parade goes through the entire downtown of West Bend. It starts up by Regner Park, actually, and works its way down. But most people congregate in the downtown area, and that's the most scenic area. But it's tons of fun. I bought snow pants this year, so I'll be warmer. And I'm looking forward to it, but it is a lot of fun. Bring extra batteries in case it's cold. But once everybody that shows up gets their pictures, they can send them to me, and then I can send them on to the people that are that have the website. They do have a website. I think it's westbendparade.org. And it has the details about the parade route, and later on there'll be a PDF where you can print out all the entries in the parade if you want to see what's coming up.
Excellent. And Patty, doesn't the club get like a stipend for doing this as well?
Yeah, I think they sent us like $100 each time we take the pictures, and then they use the pictures on the parade website.
The kids there are so much fun. I mean, they think that you're like a rock star, because you've got the camera. So some of the action is just really kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw in the newsletter field trip 2024 Christmas lights, but I don't know who wants to be behind that or who suggested that. I love it.
I think I may have done that, Linnea. Or maybe Jane and I were supposed to do that together. We need to talk about that, Jane, huh?
Yeah, I guess we need to talk about that.
We could
We've been
talk
doing
about
a
it at the
lot of
Christmas
the
parade.
Cedarburg ones, and I don't know, I kind of like to get back to Milwaukee if we can feel more comfortable with doing photography in downtown Milwaukee, but Jen and I will work it out. We'll get back to everyone.
That sounds really good. I think that would be fun.
So let's just ask the group, would anybody want to go to downtown Milwaukee?
I don't want my truck stolen or a car jacked at gunpoint in Milwaukee, so you can
Okay,
forget that idea.
I think that's a no thank you for Clint.
I've
Well,
heard,
Yeah.
I've
well,
heard that,
that's what we want to hear, you know? I mean, if people have reservations about doing that, or are people willing to come? You know, if we only have one or two people going, then there's no point in doing that.
I've heard from a very responsible person, and I cough, that there's a lot of garbage there.
You know, usually we hung
You know-
around down by the Red Arrow Park where they do the ice skating, the PAC, you know, the river. That's usually where we are, and it's, you know, it's a well-patrolled area, it's a well-lit area. We could be more conscious of staying in a group as opposed to going off alone.
Gene, that's something I would be very interested in, except I do not like driving Milwaukee. So I don't know if anybody's ever willing who would be going to carpool. I can pay for gas very well, but I just don't like driving Milwaukee.
Well, and that's another consideration, you know, do we set up a time and place to meet and you know, have one or two cars going? Because yes, that's an issue for some of us whose eyesight isn't as good as it used to be.
Or somebody that picks the wrong parking garage and they find their cars locked up at night on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That's funny, Patty.
Yeah, it wasn't funny at the time. I was terrified. But it was all my imagination, you know, there wasn't a single person out there on the street,
I'm so sorry.
but I was all by myself with my camera standing out in front of this building in the dark, and there was nobody around. It was just I was a little bit freaked out.
So is there any interest? Is there any hands up here? Okay, we got a few hands.
I was down there just a few weeks ago with another camera club, and we started out at the Calling across from the art museum and walked around and came back through Red Arrow Park and back, and it was a long walk. A couple of people had issues because it was such a long walk. But we had no problems of any type. A lot of people interested in what we were doing, but there were probably 10 of us.
Yeah, we can kind of simplify it a little bit as far as how many areas we go to. But for me, go ahead, Jane.
Well, the big thing, I mean, the last few years, there's been no ice skating at that skating rink because it's been too warm.
Yes,
And that's one of the big attractions.
yes. That's what I always look forward to. And with today's temperature, it doesn't look like, I don't know, December may be warmer than usual too.
Yeah. You know, and we have done downtown Cedarburg several years in a row. So maybe we've used that up.
Maybe we could go visit Mark down in, Mark Van Cleve down in Florida. The weather should be halfway decent. It won't be hurricanes either down there at that time, so you should be good for weather-wise.
Well, we'll think about it.
Yeah. You know, something else that I saw, you know, that light show they put on at that hotel in Pewaukee? Where we used to have our Wacko meetings.
Ingleside. No, it's Ingleside.
Yes. Evidently for the first 2 nights, they allow you to walk the light trail rather than having to drive it. And that might be an interesting thing to where you can have a little more time to photograph and not shoot from your car. So that might be something to consider as an alternate if anybody's interested in that.
You know, Ken, just even thinking of that area, another like a downtown that might be beautiful for Christmas might be Delafield even. You know, that's in the same vicinity, but I'm just throwing that out.
So the countdown to the walking nights is in 9 days. 9 days, 14 hours, 31 minutes, and 41 seconds. And the
for
walking nights start.
Yeah, okay.
That's
So you'd have to plan pretty quick.
Yeah. I think we'll pass on that one, although I may try to do that myself.
It's a different viewpoint. I think it's pretty cool. You know, something different, you know, that you can walk the trails, get up close to the lighting.
So, Ken, they're doing it November 15, 16, 17, 22, 23, and 24 from 5 to 9, and it's $8.
Well, they're doing it more nights than I thought.
Yeah, so 6 nights total.
just throwing it out there. December challenge is lights. So it doesn't have to be Christmas, but this might give a good, you know, inspirational photo op for people if we go.
If you can't be ready by the 24th, Ken, on November 26th and 27th, they have nights that you can bike through there.
Yeah, I don't think I want to do that. I'm not. It's been a long time since I've been on a bicycle.
I want to take pictures of that.
Yeah, thanks,
Right. I'll show up to take pictures of that. Oh, a wagon ride ticket. You can take a wagon ride through there.
Well, Jane and Ken, should we table it? You guys want to talk it over and throw something out like via email or?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great. It sounds fun, actually. Just wanted to throw out one more meeting note, just because we'll still have a regular meeting in February, but on the 15th, it's the tabletop close-up workshop at Holy Cross. So that's also, and keep in mind, our our year-end show is close-up. So this might be a great opportunity. But again, we'll talk more about that. I just wanted to throw out that date. And again, it's on the 15th. One thing I wanted to mention, just keep in mind, Dan Gorzek is the person to contact for the rec department print of the month. And I don't know, Jeff, and again, too, I don't know if Dan's on tonight, but do we have a list of when people have signed up?
I don't think anybody is signing up. We haven't heard from Don in quite a long time.
I'm sorry, that was my typo. Okay.
Yeah, it's Don. I need to get a hold of him because he is also one that hasn't paid his dues. So,
Okay.
and his email bounced on me, so I have to try to find a new email for him.
Yeah, he regularly shows up at the July outing, but and I think he even showed up at Christmas last year.
Yeah.
Those are only 2 times that I saw him. He
Yeah.
just wants to do things in person, and then I think also he had some kind of conflict with Tuesday nights.
Yeah. So I'll try to get a hold of him and find out if we need to be getting photos up there if we're not, because it's still want to keep some sort of connection with the rec department. So.
And I know Don was taking names because I'm one that signed up, but since I don't know when, I'm procrastinating even more. So yeah. One cool idea, and Jeff, this is where I want to bring up that idea, and I don't know if you would like to frame it correctly. But Jim Bauer came up with an idea of Menomonee Falls Camera Club t-shirts or sweatshirts. And so between the officers, I was throwing back a few ideas, and Jeff had mentioned we could firm up our logo. I don't know, I guess I know I would be interested. Is anyone interested? With the vendor that I work with just for my day job, we would need a minimum of 12. I would say an average t-shirt, kind of like a large, extra large, might be about $15. We have options. If we go with my guy, we don't have to. It's just my own frame of reference. But people could order anything like the Nike shirts, which are really, really expensive. It doesn't matter what a person wanted to order, as long as we had a minimum of 12 with the logo. So I don't know, Jeff, if you can clarify that at all or kind of make more sense of what
Well, the biggest trick we have is we don't really have a logo. We flip through a bunch of different things. This is one, let's see if I can pull it up. This is one that I've used in the past. It used to be our business card, but that's a pretty old one, and it's really not a logo.
Except I don't see it. I didn't see it.
Okay, let me cut to it. Let me go to full screen on me so that everybody can see it. So and it's really not a logo, it's just a photo that I threw together with our club name. It used to be our business card, one side of it.
Jeff, the only thing I see is a Menomonee Falls Camera Club meeting, and then a picture of a smartphone, Nikon.
That's the logo.
Oh, that is? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that would be a nightmare to reproduce, I'll tell you right now. This is what I do for a living.
No, we really don't have a logo per se. The other one is what we have on our website. And that one is another photo with just our club name on it. We don't have a logo. So we would have to create something.
I'd buy a t-shirt or a polo shirt. I think that'd be kind of cool.
And when Jim brought this up, the one software, but I'm not a designer, so Patty, this is where you could come in, and I think it's called Cleddy, and I could be pronouncing it wrong, or Kittle. It's called Kittle, and it is like a t-shirt design software which can make anybody into a vector artist instantly. So I threw together just some really mock ideas just to kind of get an idea, as well as Jim put together an idea to start this whole concept. But it's great, very easy to use software for t-shirt and marketing designs. I bought it actually for our band to use, but if this goes through, my band still doesn't have t-shirts, so you can't say anything that we're using my software. But so that is an option. If we come up with some basic ideas, Patty, you and I could get together and you could, play with it, whatever, to just come up with something too.
Okay.
Now, we could use, or we'd have to get permission from the village, which we certainly could ask. And let me see if I screen share. This is the village's logo, which if we took the Menomonee Falls and then they have the falls and then, figured out a way to do camera club in there, and not the photo, of course, in the background, but just the basic logo. I don't know if they'd let us use it or not, but it's something that we could ask. And at least that would get us closer to being a Menomonee Falls Camera Club, using the Falls logo.
Or
But
maybe
that
we
would
could
be,
use a silhouette of a photographer taking pictures of that scene or something.
yeah. But, you know, just the logo itself might be, yeah, I don't know. We certainly need to come up with it. I've used different, I use Adobe's Express to create logos, but I'm not that creative when it comes to creating logos, so it's always been a trick.
You know, when
And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. When I came up with the idea, I would personally buy a t-shirt and maybe a sweatshirt so that I could be ready to wear at events. I know we've had people approach us and are you with a group or whatever? I just grabbed something and set it up on the internet, and it was just a simple one color one.
yeah, and that would certainly work. You know, we could do something pretty simple with it, but yeah, we just would have to come up with it. I like hats better. I have a hard time fitting into most t-shirts and sweatshirts, but I'd be interested too.
Do you
Yeah,
think
and once we
get
have a
12?
logo, we have artists that work for us at my job, so they can convert the art to whatever type of garment you want it on. If you want embroidery, they can create the embroidery file to do that. We can put our logo on anything. Yeah, we can do like like lens cloths and have it be like a full color picture or something,
Sure.
that we can do almost in pretty much anything.
And we do have a local place that does t-shirts and such that could do it too.
But we have the
they're
software.
downtown.
Jeff. We have the software. We can do it.
Well, I mean, doing the actual clothing. If we wanted to do it in the falls, there is a place on Main and Appleton just down from there that does t-shirts and some of that. But
And I have no loyalty to the guy I use, but I work in the Jackson Industrial Park, and Star Promotions, is now called Halo, is in the same industrial park. So
okay,
as long
great. Yeah.
as long as I purchase 12 of any item, it can be one hat, one sweatshirt, one t-shirt, he gives me the lowest discounted price. All of our clothes are embroidered, but we could do a screen print, and I don't pay any delivery charge because he just drives it over. But again, I have no loyalty. But Jeff, I guess I'm wondering if there is interest, could we almost, just for the fun of it, like by the end of January or so, do like a Menomonee Falls Camera Club logo competition? Submit your logo. It doesn't have to be finalized, but have people's creativity come together.
Sure.
But I don't know if anybody wants to. I bought software and I'm going to use Patty, so I'm good.
Yeah, I would say whoever wants to, and you guys throw something together and let's see. The stuff I've done just doesn't work as a logo, so it's meant for the website, and it was a stopgap until we could get a logo put together, and just never got that far.
So Tony, I saw your name. Patty, I know your game. Jim, I know you are definitely. And Ken, yeah, I guess let's just, for the fun of it, let's come up with some ideas. Have maybe not ready for the January meeting because we have the holidays coming up, but maybe for the February meeting, and we can put it out to everybody. Maybe we can get in the newsletter before our meeting. And then Patty, I know you have connections. Jeff, you have connections. Maybe we could each just talk to our representatives and see who wants to deal with the headache of placing the orders and getting it done. And then
I could have Tammy at work. She puts together like like quotes, and she can pick like a random selection of, like popular products and things, and send you like pictures and everything of what it would look like. And, give you a quote on pricing, then you can, compare it to whatever else you have.
Yeah, I guess I guess, guys, let's put that in the conversation now and for the month of February, the beginning, by the newsletter, let's just get rid of our ideas to Ellen, and then we can talk about it in the meeting. And then decide if we want to go ahead.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay, Jeff, I guess then I'm brought up to like, if you wanted to do either show and tell now or PSA news and Wacko about the competition.
Well, let's do Wacko quick. We had the Wacko competition. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people enter the competition, at least that got awards. I don't know if more people entered or not. But just to go through it a little bit, Jessie took 3rd place in Mono Nature Projected and had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 honorable mentions. Roger Krill got a 2nd place in Mono Open Projected. Limited Color Open Projected, he took 2nd place, and 3rd place in Nature Special Theme. And then a couple, 3 honorable mentions. Ian Dickman took 2nd place in Color Open Projected and in 2nd place in Color Nature Projected, and 1, 2, 3, looks like 5 HMs. Jane Hurst took 1st place. Hey, I got a cat that's messing me up, so. Jane Hurst took 1st place in Mono Nature Projected and 3rd place in Mono Open Projected, and looks like 5 HMs. Jim Karofsky took 2nd place in Open Special Theme and 3rd place in Open Special Theme, and 4 honorable mentions. Ken Warning took 1st place in Color Open Projected and 3rd place in Color Open Projected and had 5 honorable mentions, and John Wiley had an honorable mention in Color Open Projected. So we did fairly well. Took a lot of medals. We had a low number of turnout, unfortunately, for entrants, but we had at least 1/3 of the entries in there in the competition, so we did fairly well.
Yeah, we had closer to 1/2, Jeff.
Did we?
Yeah, we
Okay.
got the 12 out of the 24 medals and 42 out of the HM and medal total out of 86.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. So that's the Wacko competition. The show will be on the website soon, probably by the end of the week. And a video of the winning entries will be up by the end of the week. And then the website probably in the next week or 2 will have all the winning entries for the competition up. So that takes a little longer because it's more typing to do.
Yeah, and Jeff, I did mail out the awards this morning, so they should probably be coming before the end of the week.
Other Wacko news, we have our March seminar speakers lined up. It's Daryl Gouline. He will be talking about landscape photography and travel photography. And my cat's gonna knock my microphone over. So we'll have more information on that in the next month or so. I'm waiting for photos from Daryl on his talk. So, but March 1st is the first Saturday in March, and it goes from 9 o'clock till 12:30. And I think that's all for Wacko. PSA has their first meeting November 17th. I believe that's a Sunday from 10 o'clock till 3. The morning session is a bunch of business and slideshows and things. The afternoon session was going to be on storm photography by Mike Mazul. He had to cancel at the last minute, so I'm in the process of trying to find a speaker to replace him. So I'm not sure what we'll be doing that Sunday, but we will have some sort of speaker if I can get something pulled together real quick. And that's it. They're going to be going in May to Dubuque, Iowa for the PSA chapter outing. To be a chapter member, you need to belong to the National PSA organization, and then you can join the chapter for a little under $6 a year. So it's a good organization. They do quite a bit of different things.
Hey, Jeff,
Yep.
what if we would check to see if Ian could do his flower presentation that he's doing in January and do that
I might be looking to do that. Yeah, that's sort of my last resort.
and then maybe we can get Mike back for January.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to get a hold. I just found out. Yeah, but that's a good idea. I might do that. The only not nice part is that we haven't promoted Ian stuff, so nobody knows what he's talking about yet. But yeah, that could be a good solution. I got to get a hold of Ian. So I think that's it.
I suggest we go to show and tell. And again, with my alphabetizing for show and tell today, Bob, you would be first.
Okay. Given that I'm quite new here, I thought I would pick 2 trips that we took that will show, 1, the types of photography I enjoy doing, and 2, maybe show you a couple of places you haven't been, because these are places that most people I know have not been to. So with that said, I'm going to try to share my screen.
Yep, so far we see your screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it full size here.
You might be able to, no, I don't know.
How's that?
It probably is full size for what Zoom can do with it.
Alrighty.
my gosh, Bob, those are beautiful.
Thank you.
Very
Wow.
nice.
I want to go traveling. Can we stop the meeting and go traveling, please? It was just gorgeous.
Bob, was that part of a workshop?
No, that's just my wife and I traveling.
Wow, wow.
The ones where you saw the whales feeding, we were trying to get to a end of a peninsula, and the road got so bad we quit. We heard there was a rookery, so we walked over towards the ocean, and we found we were 30 feet up on a cliff, and these whales were feeding right below us. It was incredible. Just dumb luck.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm jealous of your dumb luck. I have been on many whale watches, and those are just gorgeous pictures. Absolutely
Thank you.
beautiful. Wow. Any other questions for Bob? Otherwise, Jessie, we'll have you go next while I'm in awe.
Bob, what time of year were you there in Newfoundland?
That was early July. We were surprised there was still icebergs, but we wanted to be there when the whales came back.
Okay,
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Bob. Jessie, where are you ready?
I think so. We'll give it a shot here. Oh, come on. There it is. Okay. They changed this on me since the last time I did this, so.
Yeah, they're constantly updating. It's driving,
Here we go.
drives us all nuts.
Okay, now we got my screen. Okay. My travels are just up north where our hunting land is. And this was back in May. I took the four-wheeler out down a country road and parked it and took some pictures. This was with my cell phone, this picture. Oh, let's see here. There we go. And I couldn't decide what kind of pictures to show, so I started, these are like from the past year, summer. This was a little wren at our campgrounds. He was sitting on a post there singing away. And the red-bellied woodpecker. It says, my vacation consists of my backyard, either here in Grafton or up north. This is a flower that was in my garden that I didn't plant. It came back from last year. This is the yellow-bellied sapsucker. I hadn't seen one for years up north, and then this spring he was there all the time, like those oranges. And these are our twins that are in the backyard here in Grafton. Now they got little number bucks, and they come almost every day, and you can get within 5 feet of them. That was one of them also. Now they don't have their spots anymore. This is one of my flowers that I planted this year. It's called a Lisianthus. They're still blooming. And Canadian swallowtail on my flowers. Another one of the Lisianthus with a background in it. A bee from our flowers out front. I like to catch them early in the morning, or sometimes they just take a rest and they'll just be sleeping there. It's a good time to take bee pictures. This was at the Sunflower Farms in August. That's my backyard, gladiola. And that's on our front flowers again. It's called a Carter bee. That was a different bee. Normally we have the regular bumblebees, but this guy was a little different looking. And again, he was kind of just sleeping there. Green heron. Caterpillar up north. I found him munching away on a milkweed leaf. And I walked away and was looking for other things. And when I came back to see if I could get more pictures of him, this guy was looking at me. And I was taking a bunch of pictures of him. And then on the leaf below him was his big daddy long legs. Well, I'll try to get a picture of him. And as I was aiming at him, he jumped down and the daddy long legs is gone. This is in the Milwaukee River here in Grafton. This was in my backyard. It's a fairly rare moth for this area. It's called a connected looper moth. And first I thought it was a skipper butterfly, but he was real metallic, shiny looking. That's what caught my eye on him. And it took me quite a while to investigate this one, but that's what he was. So that's all I have.
Gosh, Jesse, those are gorgeous. Are the backgrounds on a lot of those photos your backgrounds, the blurred? Or is that just how it came out?
That's how it came out. The only one that I added a background in was with that one flower, the purple flower.
Wow.
The rest were all natural backgrounds.
Did you use a macro lens on it, on some of those pictures?
I do. I got a new macro lens this early in the season, a 90mm macro, Olympus macro. I love it.
Yeah, definitely very beautiful pictures.
Thank you.
Jeff, I'll leave it to you. Should we do the October slideshow at this
Yeah,
time before you get into
go
it?
ahead.
Okay. With the slideshow, and Adele, when you get the newsletter, you'll see, I know Randy and Nancy put some beautiful photos into the newsletter that aren't on our slideshow. Yeah, Joe, I also see that you put in a really cool butterfly one in that as well. The one not disclaimer, but in the slideshow that I did, when I put the photographer's name in, some of them have like fall backgrounds. And I didn't think of it until after it was done. Where the name is just a stock photo. So sometimes it looks like the person whose name it on, it looks like it could have been their photo, but it's not. But if you like it, go ahead and claim it because I put your name on there. So, okay, let me go ahead and share. And this time, 1 second, I'll actually click the box. Sorry. Here I was going to be so prepared and I started it on my other screen. All right. All right, Jeff, next month we're going to practice this so I'm better at it, okay? I'm sorry.
Everybody has problems with it. I even have problems with it because I keep moving everything around on
I
that
know. I
screen.
put everything so it was just so nice and easy to see, and now I'm struggling with too many things open. Okay. So if I go to my background, I am screen sharing,
Yep.
but I don't think I'm on the right screen, am I?
Well, it looks like you're on your home.
Sorry about that, guys. That's my
screen.
family. They're very nice. Jeff, how do I get it to the other screen? I'm really embarrassed right now.
Should give you 2 options when you hit the share screen button. Should give you the first 2 options would be your main screen and then your second screen. Then it goes into sharing just the program itself, which generally doesn't work real well.
Okay, I've lost everybody now. Slideshow's really good, guys, just so you know, because I'm watching it all over here.
It's all right. I keep losing my cursor, so I know the feeling.
No, this is really embarrassing. I have too many screens up and I have lost you guys. I can't even see you anymore.
Can you just
Don't worry,
click?
we're still here.
I
Yeah.
know. Sorry, guys, talk amongst yourself. I'm getting it.
Well, it's really nice to see the amount of quality of the photography that the people are doing. It's really gorgeous. I mean, everyone, thank you guys. You guys are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you, Clint. Keep going.
Well, hopefully everyone voted today. I could have went out in my shorts. It was so warm again. It's like, what month is it? It's November.
I read, is everyone familiar with the song When the Moon Hits Your Eye Like a Big Pizza Pie?
It's amore.
Yeah, well, I read on Facebook today, when the moon hits your eye and it's 4:45, that's November.
Officially, I guess.
Okay, I finally have the meeting and I am so sorry about that.
Yeah, sometimes you can lose everything with Zoom.
Jeff, you know what? This is so embarrassing. At least I knew where to do it. I see my screens, but I have too much on the background. So how do I get to my file?
Is there a particular screen that you have the slideshow on?
Yes, right on my home page, right on the page.
So if you pick that particular screen, then you can open that app up and then it should fill up the screen. So now just open your app or click the movie
but
and
it's coming
TV.
on the wrong screen. I wonder if I have them labeled wrong.
Can you drag it over to the main screen? Is that
What?
sometimes just drag it from the one screen to the other screen?
No luck?
No,
Oh gosh.
I think you need to drag it from wherever you have it
Okay, I'm
to
doing that
this
now
main
when it's
screen.
off. Okay. So this whole meeting is just so we can learn, correct? That's what
Yep.
we're trying to do.
We're always learning with this. It's now I'm not quite as good with Windows, so it's harder.
I'm not either, obviously.
Well, it's really hard because it gets frustrating because Zoom keeps on moving stuff and changing it. They got to keep reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
Any luck?
Well, it shows. Now we're just seeing the whole family.
Oh my gosh, guys.
Click on the movie, movie and
Yeah,
TV.
click on movie.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Now you
All
got
right.
it.
Thank you for your patience. I'll just be quiet now. But you have music?
No.
Music was good. I'll leave it till next time. Okay, again, thanks for your patience. I guess my goal as president is to get this down right before I pass on to the next person next year. Sorry about that. And the music was really awesome. I got to tell you, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we'll get it worked out yet.
I know. And Jeff, next meeting, maybe we can meet beforehand, just so I can.
Yeah,
Don't worry, they'll change it again for you.
yeah.
No, I wish I could blame it on that, Clint. I think it's called me, but you know, again. Jeff, would you like to go ahead?
No.
No, okay, never mind. Again, if you need my
Well,
technical help, I am here for you, okay?
yeah, well, this will be interesting only because I haven't had a whole lot of time to work on it. So if anybody has other ideas with what's new in Lightroom and Photoshop, I've just started scratching the surface because they just brought out a whole new version of Lightroom and Photoshop since we just had Adobe Max last month. So we have a bunch of new things, but I haven't actually had a whole lot of time to play with them. But we'll see what I can make up here as we go. Let me get this. And if my cat doesn't start tapping the keys, we'll be okay. I just moved my cat to my new house and he's still trying to get settled in. So, and he was laying nice until now that I have to do a demo. All right, let's see if I can share screen. That looks right. Okay, so there's a couple of new things. Just a minute, because I can't see everything. That Lightroom has come up with a bunch of new stuff. Let's see, I should probably, yeah, this will work. One of the things is, and you can't see it here because it's showing up on my main screen, is that you can now rename your catalog. And that's been a pain since every time they bring out a new light version of Lightroom, they make a new catalog, and you start getting all these catalog names and with version 13 or version 12, version 13, version 14, and such. So now in the under the file menu drop down, there is a rename catalog, and you can now rename your catalog and it will update all the right components inside of Lightroom Classic. And I am talking the Lightroom Classic, which is the desktop version of Lightroom. We are up to version release 14. That's the latest version that's out right now, which is Camera Raw 17. In Photoshop, it's actually called Photoshop 2025 for the new year. A couple of things that they've added. Let's see, they renamed. The generative remove tool has been updated nicely. If you go into develop, you go into here for the remove tools, you have use generative AI and detect objects. Now has gotten a lot better. All you have to do is roughly select your object. It will detect the object. You can then add and subtract to the object if you need to, although I found that you generally don't have to as much anymore. Click remove, and AI will take and remove it. And now you can see the person's gone and it's filled in all the area that it needed to. And I found it does a pretty decent job, and you don't have to spend as much time now that it's out of the early version of it. You can really clean up a photo pretty quick, and you can see it kept all parts of the car. The one that I was sort of surprised is when I did the sign and hit remove. Now watch it not do it as well as it did, but it actually created some what looks like the correct parts of a car, and actually sort of works. Now, sometimes it's not perfect as I zoom in to it. But even here, when I removed the person, it picked up the reflection that was over here. Here, it created all this new, but if you didn't know better, you would say that that was part of the car. So it's really does a pretty nice job of getting rid of people and other items that you want to do. Now I can show here, if you just do a rough drag on people, you can see that it can pretty much does a decent enough job to get rid of people. So that's the generative remove tool. If anybody else has used it more, I'm always happy to let people talk about it. I just started playing with it and I found that it does a pretty decent job. You can, when you select a person, if you needed to add, say, more, you've got the add button where you could add another person in and say this person, and then hit remove. It will let you, it will do that. It does give 3 varieties. Sometimes it works well, other times it doesn't. There, it didn't do too bad of a job. I did find that at times, I'm just going to erase these because I also want to take and show some other stuff in Photoshop. So this remove tool works pretty well. I'm finding now that detect objects is working a lot better. Come on, don't hit my buttons on my screen. Having a cat is always so interesting. So that's the generative remove. You still have the old standbys, but this is getting better. And you don't have to go into Photoshop now near as much. One of the other, let's see, they've also made loading images a little quicker, which is sort of nice. It used to be that, you know, if you started going through images, it took a little longer. Now it jumps to it a lot faster. So you don't have that much of a problem. With this one, I did find that it works nice with plants, this generative remove. And it really works out well for cleaning up shots where you need to just get rid of things. I mean, there it filled in that leaf real nice. I even found that, you know, and you just have to do a rough outline of it and it will find that object. And then if you need to add more, like here it missed that leaf, you can get it there. But I like it for cleaning up, especially flower shots where I got a bunch of stuff. Now here it's sort of interesting, it created a bud, which I might be able to use to my benefit. And it looks like all 3 versions are the same bud, slightly different. That one might be a little better. So I could live with that. One of the other older things that they did have that I still like to show because it's really out of early access was the lens blur, because it really works nice with flowers like this. This has been around a little bit longer, but it's always worth showing. And then once it gets it analyzed, you can visualize the depth. And if you want to, and really what I want is just the main flower. Come on. This does take a little bit more processing power. And then if you want stuff blurred, you can click on the blur, make your brush size bigger, and then you can paint, and then this would blur out, say, this part. As it gets to a darker color, it's going to blur it out more. And I usually like to get these other flowers blurred out quite a bit. Never tried doing a Lightroom demo when you're running Zoom because it really uses up computing power. But I'm just gonna lightly go over this to get it just a little more out of focus. And then as it does all its little things, come on. Now I can blur the background even more. And it just completely blurs out the background depending on how fast your computer is. And I'm running a very powerful computer, so you can tell this does take up between this and Zoom, it takes up a lot of processing power. But you can see how it's blurred it out. Here's without the blur, here's with it. And I actually do two things. I blur it out like this, and then I go and use my masking tool. And I select my subject first and see if it gets that right. So much of this is using AI, and it's starting to, well, come on. I know you must have picked my subject. There it goes. Talk about running slow today. Yeah, there it goes. So it did a halfway decent job. But I usually try to fine tune it. And then, of course, I want to subtract using the brush just to get rid of this part here. Because what I will do is end up putting this into its own mask to darken it. Right now, because I lightened up what I wanted, I will say the new Lightroom is pretty intensive on memory on your computer. So if you're starting to run older computers, it could be a problem. But what doesn't help is that I'm also running pretty heavy on Zoom. Wait for that.
What is considered older?
3 or 4 years old. Especially on if it's an Apple computer and it's still on the Intel chip, you're gonna start running into problems. If it's an M series chip, then it's not quite as much of a problem. I'm running a Mac Studio with 64 gigabytes of RAM and 2 terabyte hard drive. And you can see how much it's starting to lag here. Now, generally, when I'm not running Zoom, it's not a problem. But that's looking a little better. But I usually don't get this ball quite so often, but that's mainly because I'm running Zoom at the same time. And I don't have that many. I've closed down most of my programs. But yeah, these Lightroom. Come on. Why'd you get so dark on me all of a sudden? Oh, because when I dragged it, it got dark. Man, this is laggy. When I ran this demo by myself, it ran just fine. I guess I have to have everybody go away.
Just by a quantum computer and that.
Yeah. For some reason, it just, every time I make an adjustment, it's taking forever to. Okay, let's see if it's still going to go into that. All right, I can live with that. So then I take and duplicate and invert the mask. I'm not going to get into this too much deeper, but this is a good way to get your flower just to stand out. I think I've demoed this a number of times before. And it could be that just this new version of Lightroom is a little slower when it comes to this stuff. All right, that looks right. And so if I just darken it, see if it will do that. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to some of the other things. But the lens blur tool and the masking tools, the nice part with the masking tool is if I go into and I don't have another flower, but I could go into another flower shot and just copy over all these settings. And my cat, of course, just changed everything. He loves to hit keys on my laptop. So you can actually apply all these masks from one image to another and it will recalculate it. It will take some time to do it. That's what it's trying to do here, and I'm trying to get back to the photo. Man, I don't know why this is quite so slow. Okay, so just to finish this demo up, I darken the background. It's going to go through its little spinning again. No, don't hit the keyboard. Just lay down. But you can see the masking part, you can darken the background and keep the foreground real nice. The only other more important other thing that they've done is they have put in content credentials so that what you've done with AI and the photos now can be attached to the JPEG photo. Let me get out of this part and I think I can show it. So if I was going to, boy. If I go to export the photo and I need to bring this panel over, it's basically a way to be able to show right here, you can include your credentials and you can attach it to the file, attach it and publish it to the cloud so that if somebody looks for it, It's there, and you're basically adding what edits you did, the who did it, and they're going to add more stuff to this so that at least people can see what was done, what was used, and have all your ID information on there. And then you just would, when you click export, it would write it to the JPEG or whatever file you were outputting. So that's something new. It's still in early access, so it's going to be added on in the future and get to be a little better. But that's something else that's brand new with this new one. And that, I think that's about all there was in this brand new version of Lightroom. They'll be bringing out more stuff, and there are incremental increases in it. So it's getting better, though. The biggest thing was the retouching generative remove. So let's go to Photoshop, and there's a couple of just brand new things, and I'm going to use this image here. So if I go into Photoshop, and if my cat doesn't step on the key to mess it up, and we'll see if I can make this all work. So under the different remove tools, generally the one that I'm using is the remove tool itself, but they've added a new section in the remove tool, which is find distractions. And if I click on wires and cables, it will actually look at the photo. And I haven't tried this yet on this image, but it should remove those wires. Now it is, again, an AI. I have it sampling all layers, although I just have the one layer. And I'm on auto mode, which may use generative AI. But you can see without much trouble, it got rid of all those wires, and you really can't see anything with it. So that's new and really improved. They also have one for getting rid of people. I don't have people in this shot, but say I wanted, the generative remove really works sort of nice for removing stuff where Lightroom can't quite do it. Although, like I said, Lightroom has gotten a lot better. This just takes it one step further and really cleans up a shot nicely. So the remove tool really works out pretty good. Let me get one with people. I was going to use this one. So again, find distractions. This time we'll click on people. You can see it found quite a few of the people. What's interesting is some of them, the one that it left is one that I maybe would keep in the shot. You then just click the checkbox. And the people are gone. It's really quite amazing what it can do. And if, say, you didn't want this person, you can just select them and click the checkbox. And now you got a scene without people in it. So it's really gotten pretty good. I've been using the remove after each stroke, so you can check that so that it removes it after you've done a stroke. Say if I did this, now it will just automatically should do it. I actually like the one where it really does a nice job. I like it where I keep this unchecked so that when I'm ready to have it do it, I just hit the checkbox here. You do have auto for the modes, generative AI just on, off, and that gives you the terms. I found auto works the best so far, so I've just been leaving it on auto. Just make sure that you watch out that if you have shadows, that you end up cleaning up your shadows. If it didn't do a good job with the people, you might have to, do something to get rid of the shadow of the person, because that's usually the one way that you tell. Here you can't. Here it looks like it filled in the shadow of the person pretty well. I'm trying to remember what else I had for Photoshop. The main thing was that remove tool. Let's see, just because I can't remember. One nice thing is under the help menu, it does have a section called What's New. And it runs through videos to show you what's working. So here, of course, is the remove tool. Generative fill, you can type in things and add objects. Generally, I don't do that too often, but it is something that you can do. And it's amazing how good and clear this stuff is getting. It's not quite as good as an original, but it's doing pretty well. The one that I do like to use is the generative expand. If you needed to fill in an area, you just take your crop tool, make it bigger than what you needed, and it will fill in all that stuff. So these videos are really nice in explaining how they work. Here, generate something that's similar. You can tell just by typing in what you want, it will try to create something similar to that. But this discover part really is sort of nice for bringing in items. And it gives you the photos to play with so that you can actually practice on it on your own. Let me get out of this part. So let me go, if I go to this and let's see, zoom. But the nice part is if you needed to crop and you needed to add more stuff to it, let me back up and try that again because I had it set just to, you got generative expand, and if I go and expand it, this is where I find it handy that if I need, I have a picture frame that I use that's a video picture frame, and it takes a certain aspect ratio, and here I can then crop and add onto it, and you'd never know that you just added all this stuff on, and look how well. Now, I will say that for some things, And as I zoom in, you'll notice that here's the original picture here. This is a little softer, but for normal screen use, you'd never notice the difference. So I find that to be very handy to have, that it just will add on to my picture. Jim, are you still here? Karofsky? Can't tell.
I am, yes.
Would generative expand with the way you just explained it at the WACO meeting? I'm not adding any words to it. Would this be allowed in WACO?
You know, I would have to ask Ken and Elizabeth that, but I don't think it is because it's expanding or changing the size.
Right.
And I think originally we said not to have things expand, but you could take things away. You just couldn't add. Now, again,
Right.
that's going to be a question we'll have to figure out.
That's one that we need to talk about.
Right.
But if you're not doing it in WACO, it's not a big deal. This is handy, especially if you need it to fit a certain proportion. Somebody have something else to say?
I just thought you guys talked about anything like add might be the key word in those new rulings.
Yeah, it's as long we had expanded it a little bit at the last WACO meeting in saying that with all this generative remove stuff, we're removing and replacing it with something, and it is, as long as we don't put words into the generative part, you're okay. It's just, yeah, the expanding and adding new like creatures and that aren't yours, you can't do something like that. So if I say, and this is where this is really coming out sort of handy for me when I do artwork for say a brochure or something, and instead of me buying regular art, come on, now let's see, if I go to my generative fill and say a cowboy with pistols. Now it should put a cowboy with pistols in that opening. Oh, I shouldn't have said pistols. I forget, they are very picky about weapons. Cowboy with rope.
Put a horse there.
Yeah, I could do a horse too. I want to see what they come up with for a cowboy.
How about a cowboy with a lasso?
Yeah, that's sort of what I just typed. Well, that's not a boy, but
Oh boy.
that's quite a lasso. This one's a little better. But you can see, you know, if you needed to add stuff, if you were doing for advertising or something like that, you've got a lot more options that you can do with this, and it's getting better.
Well, at least a cowboy has a mustache.
Well, it still has problems with faces. This looks like a cowboy clown.
Maybe you could use that for try that for your logo.
Yeah. Her stomach's a little weird, and so is her top, but it's getting there. We got a ways to go. I definitely say, but I needed to create photos for our Renaissance fair at Old Falls Village, and I just typed in Renaissance characters from a Renaissance fair, and it gave me all sorts of characters that I could use, and really made instead of having to buy artwork, I just could type in what I needed. So sometimes, this stuff is handy, and it's not always just for a competition, but I do like that I can expand it, that I can add different things now. Say, here, if I put in this, and let's see. And it really depends on the size of the box that you put. But, so if I go a horse and rider, see what it does. But you can have fun just coming up with different wording.
It looked like it didn't necessarily try to match the lighting, although it does match the angle of the shadow I see.
Yeah, I got the shadow pretty close to what the shadows are here now.
It almost looks like a Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of rider that is. That's rather strange.
That rear horse leg is looking a little scary too.
Yeah. Yeah, here is this is a horse ready for the race, although that one leg is
the back one too.
It's a broken leg.
Yeah, two broken legs, it looks like. Boy, it's still, like I said, the horse is here, the leg doesn't look too hot, but you can fix some of that up. I'm a little worried about this rider here. It looks like part monkey. I don't generally use it for a lot of this stuff, but it's what's coming, and it can be fun when you're bored.
That horse can look like an extended horse too.
Yeah. So, sometimes it's still not perfect, but it certainly, there's little things that you can add. I was just listening to something on YouTube, a Photoshop guy called Photoshop Cafe, and he does a lot of where he adds a lot of stuff, and Adobe has a 3D making setup where you can create 3D objects. And he was using that to add to his photos, and he just told it to create a telephone, and it created a telephone. Then you could rotate it to the way you wanted it and then place it into the photo. That kind of stuff is getting to be really handy for creating different types of collages where you need to create, more than what you normally would be doing. But see, I think that's about all that's new with Photoshop right now. I'm learning more of this as it goes, but you can see the remove tool is what I really tend to use, especially if you need to get rid of people. And now I could create a nice old town by, adding some texture to it and making it look old. Probably could have fun just by, for me, I got to get back onto the right layer. And then if I go to color effects, I know I'm way behind on my stuff. But you can go in and, grunge this up quite a bit. If I do detail extractor, and really grunge it up, and then probably add some sort of texture to it. And me in color saturation. Can't remember if I've got, I have to go into, that would be the one to go into. Then you have analog effects. Which then you could actually find something Let's see. Classical camera. They've got a lot of interesting effects to make things look old. Yeah. So there I'm starting to get, and then you've got all sorts of different ways to make this look old and interesting. And this is just using Nik filters, which I use a lot. I'm starting to find that the analog effects has a lot of interesting, you can add a lot of interesting textures to it. Here it's organic. Scratches. I like eroded. Make it more look like an old-time photo.
Jeff, I'm familiar, I've heard this group talk about Nik. Is Nik a separate plugin that you purchase and then use with Photoshop?
Yeah, it's a separate group of plugins. It's they've got quite a few actually. Let's see if I get out of it. They have a noise reduction. They have one just to adjust color and tones. They got HDR, color effects, which is the one that I use the most. It brings out more detail. You can add different warming filters and effects like, shooting at early morning or late afternoon sun. Analog effects has a lot of these special effects that you can do. And then silver effects turns it into black and white. And then they've got a pre-sharpening program, which I generally don't need. I do like silver effects. That one helps get you, something a little older looking. And yet they have tons of nice presets. Let's see if we got anything in here. This is probably, yes, I know. You can find what you'd like, and you can actually adjust for the colors that are in there, and it will change the look of it. Yeah, that's getting a little better now. I just would like to add. I want to get down to film types. There we go. You can change to the different film types to give you some grain. They've got all sorts of things that you can end up doing. And they break it up into different sections, and sometimes you can find some interesting stuff. I don't know. Let's see if I can get back to my biggest trick is navigating sometimes. Color filters, film type. We got the green. And let's see. Used to have borders in here. I think it's still hidden.
What's, Jeff, go on the right panel and go all the way down. What was the finishing options?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. And
It's the very last one.
Oh yeah, finishing options. I got to get better glasses. Okay, yeah, there's my toning. Thanks, Elizabeth, because I sort of like to give it a little bit of a, oh, that's an ugly color. That one's not so bad. You don't need the vignette, but then sometimes I like to add, they have different borders that can be nice. I used to use a different program that had more borders on it.
They got those burnt edges too.
Yeah. Yeah, not bad. Let's see what burnt edges is like. So they got a lot of different things that you can make, but that's now made this look like an old photo that just got dug up. Actually, it looks like an old photo that I made it dug up out of my basement today. And it's just fun to start playing around and seeing what you end up getting. You know, this is an old movie set down in Tucson, and I think a movie set or a ghost town near Tucson. But here I took something that had lots of people that were in the way and turned it into an old looking photo. So, and just playing around, I had no idea where I was going. So Nik Effects gets you a lot of capabilities. You can see, this is the last one. If I turn that off, you can see the color one that I did. And that's just the plain color one. And if we go all the way down, well, you can see here's where we added the border. So that's almost looks natural. So I think that sort of worked out pretty neat. So it's stuff that you can do just with, I believe the plugin's around $100 for the Nik filters. And if you already have it, the upgrade is like $70. And you can get a link in the Wacko website, and maybe even on our website, there's a link to Nik to get sometimes a discount depending on what time of year it is. Right now, we got Black Friday coming up in, what is that, about 2-3 weeks? Watch for all the makers to have some sort of discount on their stuff. Nik usually does something, usually about $30 off if you're looking for it. But you can have a lot of fun just sitting around. I love sitting around and playing with some of these old photos. This was a photo I had taken, God, has to be almost 30 years ago. And I'm finding a lot of these old photos now, I can do a lot more with them. So it's been a lot of fun to play with.
So Jeff, with the high resolution cameras now and the software and AI and all, what are we looking at for those of us that need to upgrade our systems as far as you know?
Yeah.
You know, my laptop is done. You know, I 45 megapixel. I can't do any video editing. It's time to move on.
Yeah. If you're gonna, especially if you're gonna do video, you want to get as much RAM as you can afford. You can tell that my Mac Studio has 64 gigabytes of RAM. I think that's what I've got in this one. Let me just double check it to see. Yeah, 64 gigabytes of RAM, and I wish I would have gotten, they actually have double that to 128. I wish I would have gotten that, and I may end up getting rid of this one and upgrading to a bigger one. I would get like 128 gigabytes of RAM and 2 to 4 terabyte internal hard drive. And that would be whether I was doing Windows or Apple. The thing with Apple is with the new M series chips, they use the hard drive as RAM once you run out of RAM. And the hard drive is all solid state, so it runs pretty quick. Although you could tell even I was running into problems running some of the Lightroom stuff with this Mac. And this Mac is already 2.5 years old. So for me, when it gets to be 3 or 4 years old, I'm looking to replace it. And you basically want to get as much RAM as you can afford to buy. And I've given up on laptops. The only reason I use a laptop now is when I travel. And I'm going back to desktop because Photoshop and Lightroom have just gotten into memory hogs. So, yeah, Tony.
Does the person who asked you, does he have a PC or a Apple?
See,
Hello?
What did?
I have a PC.
PC. I do video editing and make slideshows and picture. So I plunged in and bought a Dell Alienware laptop. It has a 17.3-inch screen and a 6-second boot up time with 16 or 32 meg and a 512 SSD. And I've had no problems with this, but the Alienware is a gaming system.
Yeah.
And it's made for speed and the 17.3-inch screen is really nice. So it is more than regular laptops, but it's what I'm using right now. I'm sitting in my lounge chair looking at it, and
yeah,
everything is nice and big. So there is that option. It's probably costs less to get the one I have here rather than getting a whole lot of memory, like 128 or 256. So anyway.
Well, it all would depend on how long a video you're trying to create and work with. If 512 is not a whole lot of memory for storing files on the computer, I'm running over 500 gigabytes just in programs on my computer, let alone. So that's why I usually suggest 2 to 4 terabytes of hard drive space.
Right.
And Lightroom, the minimum it can work on is 16 gigabytes of RAM. 32 works. 64, if you're going to go into video, I would do 64 or 128.
Yeah.
It just makes doing longer videos a little easier to do.
I think now that I think about it, I probably do have 64. I do also do multi-track recordings, various instruments and so forth. So anyway, it's an option if you do have, want speed and so forth. That's all.
And Ken Cena's mentioning that Windows has many mini PC options with the i9 chip and a 64 gigabytes of RAM in a mini PC. So they've got a lot of small PCs where you just got to throw a monitor on and a keyboard and such. And
well, then another factor is the video card too. That's another big factor. If you start doing the video and you got 8K that you're recording in 8K minimum, I record in 4K, because you can always crop it, downsize it. That's just a power hog.
Yep. Yeah, it really is. It sucks up a lot of power. So yeah, if you're going to do 4K or 6K or 8K, yeah, you need a stronger computer. And gaming computer can do quite a bit of it. I would probably still be looking at a desktop for a lot of that, and just use the laptop more for traveling. Although the 17-inch, that makes it a little hard to travel because that's such a big computer to carry around. But I'm finding with a faster, when you go to like a 4 terabyte SSD or at least 2 terabytes, they're pretty fast, and you can store quite a bit right on the computer. And then I've got 16 hard drives sitting in two separate boxes for all my stuff. So a lot of it, half of it's video and half of it's for stills. Although I read read an article where a guy is taking and deleting 1,000 images per day to try to get his file. I have way too many files in my Lightroom catalog. I think I'm up to like 250,000, and I'm trying to get that down to half of that by the end of winter. So I got a long way to go. Yeah.
Jeff, can I just make one other little comment, and that is
Sure.
for people who buy Macs, remember that most of the new Macs are not upgradable because
Right.
your RAM is now on the same chip as your processor. So that's, making them quicker and faster because obviously they don't have to leave the same chip, but that also means you can't plug something out and put a new piece in.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I'm dealing with my Mac Studio. It was one of the first ones that came out, and it's 64 gigabytes of RAM, 2 terabyte hard drive, and it's actually getting outdated, and I've only had it for a couple of years. And the new ones, which I'm actually waiting for the newest one to come out, I will probably end up updating to a new computer.
So the question is, do you have only one hard drive in your computer, or can you get a backup?
I only have one hard drive in this computer. Yeah. It's all integrated. Mac integrates their hard drives, their RAM, and their processing CPU and GPU all into one big chipset. Now, the good part about that is it's super fast, and it's brought the price of these computers down quite a bit. The bad part is they're not expandable. So when they run out, or if the hard drive crashes, you basically are going to go out and buy a new computer.
Cool.
But I like the way Apple computers work. I can't stand the way Windows computers work. And so I'm stuck that way. But some of the regular Apple computers now, for my everyday use where I'm not processing images, I have a $600 Mac Mini, which has just 8 gigabytes of RAM and 512 terabyte or gigabyte hard drive. It works great for everything except for photos. And even photos, it does okay for being 8 gigabytes of RAM and 512 hard drive. And it was only $600. So you can do it, but you just got to know the limitations of your computer and how much you're willing to wait. For me, I got the spinning ball, and you're just waiting for something to get done. But that's also because I'm running a full Zoom meeting, so that does take up a little bit of computing power as it is. Just curious to see where I'm at. Yeah, I'm only running 40%. That's not too bad on this computer. Any other questions? I guess that's all I have, Linnea. For what little bit of a sloppy presentation that I could throw together in a short time.
Well, it worked for me. Thank you. Everybody, I look forward to seeing you all in December for our meeting. And then Patty at the parade. We'll do that. And you guys all have a great Thanksgiving. And we'll talk to y'all soon.
We'll see everyone in person too next month.
Yes.
Yeah.
With pizza.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm hungry already.
And I'll actually be there, which is going to be strange for me. I don't think I've seen half of you guys in a long time. So looking forward to it.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Good night.